So hey everybody, we got a little situation going on out here in the yard. I thought I'd make a video about it. Wasn't sure if you guys would be interested in seeing it or not, but hey, there's only one way to find out. You gotta just do it, put it out there. So here we go. Some of you guys probably remember this old truck. This is the one from Auto Auction Rebuilds. This was a free truck, man. He gave me this old truck. And she turned out to be a good truck. I mean, she's rough, very, very rough, but she runs great. Or she did. Unfortunately, it blew a spark plug out of the hull. Some of you guys know that's a common issue with these. I probably got over 10,000 trouble-free miles out of them. I mean, just absolutely no issues whatsoever. And then this just happened out of nowhere. But not a big deal. I think we can fix it. They sell a lot of kits just for this situation right here. You can get some at AutoZone. You can buy them offline. Some of them, you know, prices range from $30 all the way up to like $300 and something dollars. There's some really nice ones out there. But y'all know me, I'm cheap, so I went with the cheapest one they had. I got this one from AutoZone. It was $30. And no, this is not the right one for this application, so it will have to be modified. But I don't care. I'm gonna modify it. I'm gonna do what it takes to save the money, because I think the next one was like up to like 60 bucks or something like that. I was like, nah, I'll just modify this one. Cross your fingers. Hopefully it works, and I'm not wasting my time and gonna make myself look very foolish. That remains to be seen. So there's the part number if you want to buy the wrong one for your truck, because this one is not for the F-150, the 5.4 liter. This is a 2000 model, and this is not the right one. And the problem is this guy right here, which is what you're going to need to turn the tap with, doesn't fit down in the dang spark plug hole. Look at that. There's no way. So I mean, what am I supposed to do here, you know? So the way this is supposed to work is this goes down into the stripped out spark plug hole and re-taps it, but this is what turns it. So it's like, what am I supposed to do here, right? Go buy the right kit. I know what you're saying. Well, I said we're not doing that. So I'm gonna come up with something else. Let's go see if it works. Well, there's definitely no turning back now. Hopefully this will work. Okay, so obviously I cut the end off of that, and I also cut the end off of a 1/2-inch extension. I just grabbed the old junkiest one that I found in the drawer. So we're not sacrificing too much. By cutting the ends off, the diameter of this and the diameter of this are very, very close. So by chamfering the ends here, like you saw me do on the grinder there, do that on both of these, both of the pieces you're wanting to weld together. You put them inside of this angle iron here, right? They sit in the valley, okay? I leave the end of it sticking out because obviously it's a different diameter. If I were to throw that up in there, it'd get everything all cockeyed. Don't want that. So you leave that hanging out of the end, okay? Slide this up there, turn this up on its edge and check it out. We'll clamp that in that little valley of that angle grinder, or that angle iron, and once we start our weld and we fill that valley back up between the two pieces, that piece will be super strong, and it should be more than strong enough to do what we're wanting to do. So let's see if it works. Okay, now that I've got it tacked up and I went through and kind of cleaned off the surface again, got it all nice and shiny, I'm going to put it in there and I'm going to weld it, and I'm going to kind of spin it like this as I welded it. Should be all right. All right, so it's worth mentioning, I put a little tape on the end there to kind of keep slag and stuff getting on the end of it. It will burn off, but oh well, at least we won't get slag on the threader. I mean, that would be disastrous, right? So yeah, globby looks like crap, but man, I think it's on there. We'll dress that up a little bit, make it look a little nicer, but it should get the job done. All right, so this is what we came up with. Took a grinder to it, just trying to make it look a little more presentable. In reality, the more weld that you leave on it, the better off you'll be. But here comes the moment of truth. I'm gonna dip this off in some grease. Just any old grease will do, really. And we're gonna get it in there and start twisting on it, and hopefully it doesn't snap off. All right, so I got my tap all greased up, ready to go. Now the way this works is, for those of you that don't know, the end of the tap here, this first, quarter inch or so, is the same size as the spark plug hole is originally, okay? So the idea is you're going to get this to thread back down into the spark plug hole, which is going to align it all up just right, okay? And then once you get past that quarter inch or so, it tapers out a little bit. You can see this part of the tap is a little bit bigger. You see that? Well, the idea is that once you're screwed down in there, you're going to keep twisting, and you're going to cut with this taper here, because it's sharp. You're going to cut the hole out bigger, and you're going to start getting this part of the tap to go down in there. Now obviously once this is in there, the hole's going to be bigger, right? Well, we'll address that in just a minute. Now I can't stress to you guys enough, don't try this at home. I would feel terrible if one of you guys went out there and welded something to your tap and then you broke it off right in the hole. If you do that, if this happens to me right now, we're screwed. We're gonna have to pull the head off. That's the only way to fix it after that. So this is very risky. I would never recommend welding to a threader. I mean, that's not a good idea. So it's hardened steel is why, and it's very brittle. You're in danger of snapping it as it is, just under normal circumstances. So this could be dangerous. So here we are, we're in the hole, and I'm just going to kind of wiggle it around just a little bit. I brought some extra extensions somewhere. Put this one on there, kind of get us a little better handle on it. I can feel it trying to screw into the hole already. Let's get us a little help here. I may need a longer extension. Bear with me just a minute here. Yeah, now we're cooking. Let's get that on there. Get us up here where we can get our ratchet on a little better. And like I said, it does feel as though it's already starting into the hole. This is where it gets tricky. Now the idea is you want to kind of work it back and forth just a little bit. For now, we're just trying to get it started still. Feels like it's starting. Now this part's a little tricky, so to me it's the hardest part, getting it started down in there just right, because at first they don't like to go. Sometimes you might want to work it back and then forth just a little bit. Okay, we'll go back just a little bit and just keep doing that. And be careful with it. It feels like it's started, but sometimes it'll start and then it'll kind of let loose, and it's like, oh man, I thought I had it, but I think we're in. We'll know more in a minute. So it does appear that I'm in the hole at this point. Oh yeah. That's cool. All right. So we made it through the first part. Look at all that. Look at all the metal shavings on there. That's what the grease is for. It helps catch the majority of it so it doesn't fall down in the block. You'll still have to blow air in there when we're done, but we will worry about that in a minute. So now that we are past the first part, now we'll end up cutting the hole bigger at this point. So let's get it in there. I'm gonna put a little more grease on. I'm gonna clean all that off first. All right, so we got more grease going back in. Got everything cleaned up, ready to go. Let's see if we can start cutting the hole out bigger. We'll explain why in a minute for all of you that don't know already. You might be asking, like, why do you want to cut the hole bigger? You might be asking, like, hey, now that you got the threads chased out, why don't you just put a spark plug in it? Just go with it. If you did that, it would just blow right back out in no time. This is considered a permanent fix, doing it this way, because we're going to add in a whole new sleeve. Where'd my ratchet go? We're going to add in a whole new sleeve with more, you know, perfect threads, bigger hole, and they consider it a permanent fix that you shouldn't have to worry about no more after that. So let's see if it works. See if we even make it that far. I believe we are cutting the hole at this point. Feel resistance. They say after every little bit you want to kind of back it back out. So let's do exactly like they say. Okay, so we're gonna back it out just a hair. Okay, let's go back again this way. We're starting to get some pretty good resistance. This is where we find out if our weld was good and if this was a really bad idea. Jury's still out on that one. It does start to get a little bit difficult. Like I said, back it out every once in a while, every so many turns. Read the directions, because it does say like every half a turn or so, back it back out a quarter turn, just stuff like that. I mean, it makes perfect sense. It's kind of what you do anytime you're trying to use a threader. And remember, we're actually cutting the hole bigger at this point. So you definitely are going to want to run it back out every once in a while, just a little bit. Just like we're doing here. See that? Just going back just a little bit, see? And then we're going to turn it back, go back this way. I'm going to advance a little more. See, right now we're cutting. Okay, now I want to back out a little bit. And you're just going to do this through the whole process until you finally reach the bottom. Hey, by the way, it's worth mentioning, before you do this, make sure the piston is all the way down in the hole, because you definitely don't want to hit the piston while you're doing this. I wonder how far we've made it so far. Tell you what, I'm going to pull it out, see where we're at with it. Just out of curiosity. Look at that. We're about to reach the end of it. Cool. That's a neat old mosquito right there. Obviously, you want to keep cleaning the threads off, applying new grease, that sort of thing. All right, so we're going back in, and you probably notice I'm pretty liberal with the grease. I think it helps with the metal shavings to have a lot of that on there. Let's get it back in here. At this point it screws in relatively easy. Just kind of be gentle with it. Just kind of give it a little wiggle and it'll turn at the same time and you'll get it in there. Don't force anything. That's the main thing. You don't really want to force anything. I mean, you're going to have to put a little effort into cutting these new threads, but other than that, I mean, you're not forcing it, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, we're almost there. We're just going to keep going a little bit more. It should just be about ready to stop. Just like before, same old story, just back and forth. Yeah, at this point I think we're all the way through. Let's pull it out and see. I think we got it, you guys. Alright, so this is the part where you're going to want to blow a little air down in the cylinder, just in case any of the metal chips fell down in there. It's worth mentioning that not only do you want to make sure the piston is all the way down in the cylinder, but also that the valves are closed. When you get in there and start blowing this stuff around, you don't want anything to go up in, you know, maybe get caught on the valve seat, things like that. It'll cause a miss. You don't want that. So anyway, let's get in there with some air and see if we can't get all that out of there. Okay, now with that out of the way, here comes the fun part. This is going to be our new threads. We got to get that down in there. How do you do that, you ask? Well, we put this onto the end of our threader, and then we'll screw it down in there. Now, once we get this down in there, I don't know if you could tell, but there is an edge. Can you see that? Can y'all see that? The top three threads are that's what they call knurled, or what I call gnarly. That right there is made for, once this is screwed down into the hole, you're going to take this other special tool, this guy right here. You're going to take this guy. It drops right down in there like that, and then you bang on it with a hammer really hard. And what that does, you see this has kind of a taper to it, that little bevel on the edge. It's going to make the edge of this match that, and then that's what makes your spark plug actually seat against that. And also this will bite into the head itself, keeping it from coming back out. Now before we do all of that, we're going to want to put a little bit of the RTV on here, some of this high temp stuff. That's what they recommend in the instructions. We'll do that, and then obviously I'm going to have to modify this guy, I guess, make it longer, or otherwise we ain't going to be able to get it all the way down in the hole. But not a big deal. That'll be a lot easier than what we had to do to that threader. So let's get this on the end of there. Remember, the gnarly end up, you're just going to want to screw this right onto your threader. This may take both hands. I might have to sit you guys down for just a second. This is what you end up with, by the way. Thought maybe I'd show you this before I put it all the way down in there. You see how the spark plug screws right into there. That's what it'll be down inside of the head. And if you'll notice, the spark plug has kind of a tapered seat there, and that's what that special tool is to tap this end of here and make it like that. So anyway, now that we got that, let's go ahead and get it down inside of there. And you don't want to forget your RTV. Get that on there real nice. This is what they say to do in the instructions, so I'm just doing what they tell me. Now, obviously you don't want any hanging over the end, so we'll clean all of that off. All right, going in. Get my light look down in there. Boy, I think we might have just did it. That's awesome. Check it out. Put a little tape on it, hold it together. That's all we need. I don't have to weld this one. You can actually, yeah, there we go. You can actually feel it drop right into the hole. Oh, I dropped you guys. Hang on. Something like that, maybe. All right, so here's my hammer. Let's tap on it and see what happens. All right, that ought to do it. Put the spark plug in it, get it all back together, see if it works. So I got it all buttoned up, everything put back together. We should be about ready to fire this up in just a little bit. I'm gonna let it set as per the instructions. They do say to let that RTV set up before you fire the truck up, so I will do that. And hey, what about this guy? It did its job. I mean, I don't recommend that to anybody. Don't go welding on a threader. It's not the smartest thing in the world, but it got us through. I recommend buying the right part. It did cost a little extra money, but hey, I was able to get through this for 30 bucks, so cool deal, but I don't recommend it. And like I said, if that snaps off in the block, I'm going to feel terrible. So that's why I'm telling you, I can't stress it enough. Don't try that at home. You know, try it at your own risk, whatever. All right, so after letting it charge for a little while, and of course letting our RTV sealers set up, I'd say, I don't know, a couple hours. She fired right up, no problem at all. And listen, I mean, she runs great. She don't make any kind of weird noises. She don't misfire, nothing. No fuel leaks to report. You know, we had to pop the fuel rail loose, pull the injectors out of the way and all that to get to what we were working on, and I don't see any issues, no leaks, no nothing. All right, so I've got this thing up in the city. We've been probably about 50 miles on it so far, just out driving around running errands with it, and so far she's doing just fine. You can see oil pressure's good, temperature's good, no overheating, charging, the whole 9 yards. Look at them miles. Almost 310,000 miles on this thing, and still going strong. That's the whole reason I wanted to fix it, because it does run really good and it actually drives good, and she's a good little workhorse. I just didn't see any reason to let it go over something as simple as a spark plug popping out of the hole, you know. Not too hard of a fix, really, to be honest, even with the wrong kit. Well, happy to report we made it back home with no issues at all. She's still running very well. No overheating, nothing crazy going on. So our repair is holding up. So far, so good. So hey, what do you guys think I ought to do with this thing? Should I try flipping it? Is it worth it? I don't know. I mean, it's a free truck. I don't have anything in it but maybe 30 bucks. I was thinking maybe I would kind of straighten it out, but I'm not going to do body work. That's way too time consuming. I don't think the truck would bring enough to make it worth all of that. But swapping out panels, if we could find some panels for this down at the local pick-apart yard, I'm down there all the time anyway. I could start kind of looking for those and just grabbing them as I find them. And if I get, you know, we don't need all of them, but just most of them. But it'd be nothing to just bolt them on here, scuff it down, paint it all one color. The original color of this truck is white. Easiest and cheapest color to paint. So I don't know, y'all tell me, man, what do y'all think? I figure all straightened out, all one color, looking presentable, you know, it'll make somebody a decent work truck, and I think it would bring around $1,800, something like that. I mean, it runs good, it drives good, it just looks like hell, but we could fix that. It looks like this door here is just fine. So I guess it does have a straight panel on it. Just one though. That's the only one. Look, we've even got this one here. So that's 2 trucks that we could flip just sitting around. Be kind of interesting to see if we can make some money on these things. And they need a little bit of work. This one needs a couple things as well. But that's okay. We can do it. And I know how much you guys like going to the salvage yard, so I'll be sure and bring you guys with me every time we go out to get parts for these things. So hey, for anybody that's new to the channel, check it out. This is what we got going on. I mean, we've got classic car restoration going on besides just the flip car stuff. You guys don't want to miss these videos. Go check out the 59 Coronet videos. Lots of cool stuff going on there. And look over here, man, we've even got stuff like this. This is my boy's channel, Integrity Whips. He drug this little Ranger out of the woods after sitting for years, and he's getting it all turned back around. Y'all go check it out. I'll put a card up top. You guys click on that card. It'll take you straight to his channel. You guys can subscribe and go see what he's got going on over there, because he's got another Ranger besides this one. So everybody, I'm going to end the video there. It's getting a little bit too long. I appreciate everybody watching as always. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit me up on Instagram, link in the description. Also description to all my kids' channels. You guys want to go check those channels out. They're really good. A lot of father-son, father-daughter projects going on over there with their rides. You don't want to miss that. So anyway, appreciate everybody watching. I'm going to get on out here. See you later.